Welcome to Queer Coded Country, where Yee-Haw meets Yes Queen.
A podcast about growing up in the South and realizing that it's pretty dang queer. I'm Tucker.
And I'm Hunter.
And Hunter, you're giving 1940s wife.
I thought you wouldn't recognize.
No, it's giving like I was in Arkansas for a little bit, but then I'm out on the town tonight in the 1940s. But where might you be going?
Well, I'm a milkmaid.
Oh, okay.
I am a milkmaid on their way to church, maybe?
Maybe.
To the diner.
To impress some people?
We don't know what I'm going to be milking, babe.
Honey, say that.
Honey, I'm milking. But we are dressed.
Yes.
And you are dressed.
I am dressed.
And while I'm giving milkmaid.
You're giving off the clock.
Oh, honey,
you're giving off the clock.
Clocked out, stamp, milking. You're giving on the clock in jeans.
Yes, in jeans, but also jersey and hat. I'm ready to play ball because tonight's episode is all about one of our defining, connecting films, A League of Their Own.
A film. And we must refer to it
as a film.
And you are in City of Rockford Peaches.
Reppin' my team.
Oh my, I'm a peach.
So the Rockford Peaches are one of the team that we follow in the story of A League of Their Own. This is Hunter's jersey that your dad gave you.
Yes, as a gift.
Yes.
What a gift.
What an amazing gift. But I'm also wearing a hat that has been in my family. It says AA Flying Service, and it's a hat for the girls softball league that my family's flying service sponsored in the summer.
Shut the fuck
So
up.
This is a AA Flying Service softball hat from the 90s that I discovered in my family's shack and have been wearing it ever since, and it is pure 90s stacked trucker hat realness.
Oh my God. Well, the film famously came out in 1992, and we only realized that people may have not seen it.
Right.
Because producer Sammy has not seen it. So let's set the stage really quick, then we'll go into it. But it's about the All-American Girls Baseball League during World War II. This is a film that we are passionate about. I would say to the level that we're passionate about Casey Musgraves.
100%. And I think before we get deep into it, because I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit.
Let's do pleasantries first. How's your mom and them?
My mom and them, as in me, are emotional. And I think that it is so fitting that we are talking about this episode, which is about a film that represents community and love. Girl, when you got here, I was in the gutter.
I know.
I was crying. Can you see my red eyes? Like I've had a week. I've been feeling things that I couldn't let out until you were here.
Yeah.
And as they famously say, there's no crying in baseball.
Oh.
We'll get into it. There was crying on my fucking couch.
Well, that's where it's allowed.
And that's how it's been. And I just have to say that, like, what a perfect night to talk about this film that means so much to us when you came over here and gave me a release to feel things that I haven't been able to let out. So that's how my mom and them
Oh my gosh. Well, I am sorry that you've been going through it, girl, but you know I got your back as always. And I love you.
Thank you,
I'm always
You would die for me. So
I'm on the couch to cry at all times. Okay, so my mom and them, let me tell you, we talked about the gay kickball league last week.
Oh my God, yes, you said.
So we are neck and neck with the number one team in Monday nights. We're 1 point away. We're second. We're 1 point away from being first. We were going to play the team.
Well, second is famously one away from first.
I mean,
so
honey,
I just want to make sure that we're clear.
I'm telling you that the 1 point is one small point away from being number one in the league. Number one being doesn't matter.
Oh, bitch,
but
it matters.
We're gay. I kind of do want it. I kind of do want it.
Is a point like actual points you scored or like games you've won?
So it's mix of games you've won and runs you've scored. So like you can have the same amount of wins on the team, but the amount of runs that you get goes towards the final total. And we're 1 run away from being number 1 in the league. Honey,
and let me tell you, I've had anxiety runs all week, so I could really help you. Okay, this is very similar to gay volleyball. Wow. Okay, so what are you doing to bring the team up? Like,
what am I doing?
Are you the Dottie or are you the Kit? And we'll get into that, but like that is the very question, relevant.
That's the question we're going to posit tonight is who is Dottie and who is Kit? And what I'm doing is trying to keep team vibes high.
Okay.
And I'm social chair, so I'm of course, organizing, making sure team spirits are nice at the happy hour before.
Gracefully and grandly.
That's me. Social chair and etiquette mama.
Okay, we already went into it because we can't help but get into it.
For our listeners that are not as adept with A League of Their Own as we are, a quick summary of the film is, like you said earlier, it's the 1940s. The men are going off to fight in World War II. They want to keep baseball going, so they establish
capitalism.
Right.
Let me just be clear.
Sponsored by Harvey chocolate bars.
We do recognize that in the original film, there are depictions of immense capitalism and sexism. 2 things can be true. We could have experienced this as young kids and not known that. We could have been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
We could now see it. We still love the fucking film.
Which is because the other themes rise above all of that so much. So they established the American Women's
All-American League.
All-American League for women's baseball. And it's about making the team, playing the games, and also about how you go from something that is so unknown to doing something that is so iconic and having something special and all of the things that go with it. So I'm going to set the tone for what some of the themes of the movie are.
Okay, great. So that the title holders know. Also, if you're a title holder and you haven't seen this, sprint. Run.
Required reading.
It is literally
mandatory. It's on the syllabus. So... It's on the syllabus if you're a queer-coded country listener. So the themes of the movie there are several. Sisterhood, not judging a book by its cover, embracing your individuality, accepting that you are exceptional, and then womanhood and using something that is so special and inherent to you to win everyone over and make something your own.
Fuck yes. And I would add community.
100%. Sisterhood in all of the senses.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. Yes. But in my mind, I'm like, this is a community movie.
100%. People tied together by something that they love and bonded forever if they played one season or multiple.
One season of kickball, multiple seasons of volleyball. Doesn't matter. We're in it. And here's the thing. We both separately, as many things in the queer-coded country universe happen, had personal connections to this film.
Yeah.
And then when we met each other, realized that same connection.
Yes.
And if there is one film that ties back to the foundational principles of queer-coded country, which is gravitating towards something at a young age and knowing that you love it and knowing that you relate to it.
Yep.
And then seeing it years later and realizing, oh, fuck, that was queer.
Yeah.
This is one of those films. So.
When was the first time you watched it?
Oh my God. I mean, it came out in 1992. I was born in 1991. I have to assume it was played in my house my whole life.
Yeah.
My dad, famously, baseball.
Right. Legend.
Guru. I was guru.
Yeah. He was your guru, but he was also a legend.
Like literally ball is life in my house. And he was also a catcher.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
And so Dottie Henson was a catcher.
Yes.
Also, I learned tonight, Blake Martz, catcher, college baseball.
Hello. Okay.
All the people I love, catchers. Me, now, catcher.
Okay. So, real quick, the movie is centered around Dottie and Kit, who are sisters from Wisconsin who get scouted to this women's
Wisconsin, Oregon, bitch.
Oh, are they from Oregon?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so the movie centers around Dottie and Kit, who are sisters from Oregon who get scouted onto this All-American Women's League. And
from the dairy farm.
Right, from the dairy farm. So the Dottie that you're referencing is played by none other than Gina Davis.
And can we talk about for a one hot motherfucking minute her cheekbones in this film?
Her cheekbones, has always looked good in every movie she's done, but this is some of her best, most beautiful. Well, you know, when they're doing the scene where they're trying to determine like how they each get a makeover because they have to be like beautiful for PR for the thing. The woman walks by and she goes, very nice.
Very nice.
Yes, because she's gorgeous.
Oh my God, gorgeous and just so good. And let's talk about Kit.
And Kit. So Kit is the younger sister
who's in Dottie's shadow.
Right.
And feels to be in Dottie's shadow.
Yeah.
And honestly, a big theme of our friendship, if we're tying it back to the connective tissue, is that we both love this movie, but we have also both fought over who is Dottie and who is Kit.
Yeah.
And as we go through the episode, we're going to unpack that.
Yes.
Honestly, a lot of the Dottie, Kit, big sister, little sister, that tension was present in my relationship with my sister. And we would literally quote, mule, nag.
Yeah.
Like literally, this is our daughter, Dottie. And this is our other daughter, Dottie's sister. Like literally, like we did this movie start to finish so many times. And rewatching it recently today, one of the things that I saw in the very opening scene, Dottie pulls out her glove or her mitt and is playing with it. And my sister and I had my dad's mitt, his catcher's mitt, from when he played in college and after that. And like we would fight over who got to use it.
It's a memento.
It was so literally, there was no padding, there was no nothing, but like that mitt was everything in our family, and it's still in our home.
It represented something so special and a legacy.
Correct. And literally that is the memory that I have, is just the personal part of it for me growing up was that it felt like something that was very present in my family. The dynamic between Kit and Dottie was present between my sister and I, and it was a passion of all of ours. And it was also just seeing people do something that they weren't expected to do.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I reflect back on. And also, like, the film was very intentional in, well, you got this wrong, but saying they were from Oregon.
Right.
And then Madonna's character is wearing like a peak skill, and they're like it's like a merging of cultures in a way. It felt like camp.
No,
it feels like we're all here and we all share this similar talent.
Yes.
And we all come from different places and have different perspectives and have different backgrounds. And I obviously related to that as a young kid, but didn't know the power of that I do now.
At all. And I remember it being like, I can't remember if my mom's mom, had it on tape or
VHS
if
for sure.
Or if it came on TV or something. But I remember being like, oh, I need to watch this, because I remember there being like a gravitas to it about like, this is a good movie. And I remember watching it and being so attracted to it, because it really was like, oh, these are women doing something I normally don't see on my TV, or it's not televised or broadcast enough, that women play sports and do something that I associate with something so masculine.
Yes.
Doing that. And I couldn't formulate those thoughts at that time, but I remember being like drawn to it and being like, oh, this is so different, because I can tell that this is something that is unexpected of these people.
Yes.
So I have to shout out that being in the home and people loving it because of the larger themes of it, rather than something that's so trivial. Yeah.
And I think that's part of it too, is that like, this was obviously a blockbuster.
Right.
We are facts, not feelings, not facts. And we did discover there were no Oscar noms.
But there were some Golden Globe noms. Gina Davis got a Golden Globe nom.
But it's like, this was, to the public, a movie about the All-American Girls League that was like something that was rooted in capitalism, and we'll get to all of that during the war, but it was a queer story, and the original film, which we adore, we will defend to the death, doesn't capture all the nuances of the queer experience.
Especially of what's happening at that time in 1940 something.
But also, it was 1942.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the World Wars.
Like
40-ish. And like, that is insane. And for that film to be in our homes and make its way to us.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, my family wasn't catching the queer themes.
No.
But that meant something to me. And I related to these characters and I latched onto them. And I can quote almost the entire movie. And it's one of the, like, when we talk about bits, honey, and when you talk about responding to things, like, this is one of the movies I quote the most.
So obviously we have our individual relationship to it. But then when Hunter, like you said earlier, like, we connected on it when we first started becoming friends. And we knew each other was a real one because we were quoting deep cuts.
Deep. But before the deep cuts, we have to talk about when we would see each other across the bar.
Okay.
In college, Z bar, across the room, all it took was one of us saying, "Batter up.
Hear that call. The time has come to play ball. We're the members of the All-American League. We come from cities near and far. We've got Canadians, woo, Irish ones and Swedes. We're all for one, we're all for one, we're all American."
Okay, I won't keep going, but like, that was before, that was our original mating call.
That one, and this could have been applied to shots or something at the bar. Is like
shots.
Looking, getting a shot and being like, "One more, Ellen Sue."
Oh my God! One more! Oh my God! Okay, I'm activated. Literally, we would see each other across the bar and do this call to arms.
Yeah.
And also, you know that in volleyball, I famously, "One more, Ellen Sue, one more." And that's Rosie O'Donnell's character talking to Ellen Sue Gotlander to get one more strike so that they can end the game.
Yeah.
And we did it as one more shot.
I mean, hello. So you're naming iconic characters. Like, we do also have to call out that Madonna is in the film.
And I think that probably little gay Hunter, not even knowing who Madonna was drawn to May
because she was so...
And her name was spelled M-A-E.
Like libido.
Woo!
So... Oh, M-A-E. Interesting.
M-A-E.
So, I thought you were talking about her last name.
No. Oh,
it rhymes with libido.
Well, May had one.
Yeah. But no, M-A-E. But yeah, also like you see an iconic woman just owning their entire personality and self, and that was Madonna and her character, which Madonna is obviously playing like a version of herself in the film to like potentially, you know, get butts and seats.
One of my favorite parts that she has is when she first meets Gina Davis's character.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You know, there's over 100 girls here. Some of yous are going to go home." And then Gina Davis's character, Dottie, does the math and she's like, 64 girls. And she's like, oh, some of yous are going to go home.
Like, you got smarts. But no, so in the film, her name is May. And so she goes by all the way May because she's a very sexual character and like owns her sexuality, which is part of like why you were probably drawn to her. And there's an iconic line that I'm just like clocked into in my recent rewatch, and they're talking about closing the league, and she goes, "What am I supposed to do? Go back to taxi dancing?" And I just fucking love it. Taxi dancing.
Well, and also she's the one that says in the original, like when they bring out what they're going to wear, the uniform, she's like, well, where am I going to put my cigarettes? And then Harvey Lowenstein is like, well, there will be no cigarettes and there will be no men. And she like starts to get up. And they're like, but literally also dirt in the skirt, May. Dirt in the skirt.
Okay, so their uniforms are not your standard uniform.
No,
they are
because
skirts.
they are there. Again, we recognize that this is capitalism and they were there to sell sex. And May sold it, hun.
Well, and I will say, too, that's part of what I was saying about using their womanhood and what's special to them and what's core to them to make something special. They had no fans before. And then despite them being in skirts, they did something else besides just sell their sexuality.
Showed their talent.
They showed their talents while also doing it spectacularly. Gina hits a split, catches a foul ball.
Oh, my God.
May goes, I thought there could be a key moment in the game where my bosoms fell out. And it really is. They start doing PR for the league. But it's just
because
so...
they know, because women are smart. And they knew that they had talent.
Yeah.
And that they wanted to be there to play the game. But they also knew that the game meant playing society because they knew Harvey Lowenstein was exploiting them.
100%.
And that's also part of what I feel sometimes as a gay man is like, we're playing the game, honey. I know what I want and I know what you want and I know how to get what I want out of you.
It did. But honestly, it did remind me a little bit of like the arc of acceptance of queer people and especially like gay people. The arc of being like, this is so taboo, this is weird, then kind of like rising on the uptick all the way to being like so unknown and kind of taboo to watch, but then to have articles come out about like the best spring accessory is a gay best friend.
Oh my God.
And it reminded me a lot of that about like, oh, you want to laugh at me at first, but then when someone calls me a trendsetter or something, now you're into it. And they used their inherent womanhood to turn it on and actually turn people on to the sport, which is what was missing in the first place. The fact that like, not that we're just playing baseball, but we need to actually be women and be our most spectacular selves playing baseball.
And if you watch the film in the original commercial, they're like, Betty's spaghetti, she loves to knit. And it's like Helen Sue or...
No, literally. Helen, she's an exceptional coffee maker.
Like, it's like, that's what they were promoting these women as. And these women were bad ass.
But they were selling them as, oh, they're homemakers in their off time.
And
You're giving off-duty Helen.
Well, honestly, coffee?
Yeah. You make an exceptional coffee.
But it was very that. And we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I know.
We are so fucking goddamn passionate about this film, but first we must what are your favorite bits? Like there are so many bits. What are your favorite bits?
I think the most iconic bit that I think tied us together so iconically is Shirley Baker.
Oh, Shirley Baker.
When they're making the team, Shirley Baker is up at the line and she's looking confused.
Kenosha, Racine, or South Bend.
So it turns out she can't figure out where she made the team or not because she can't. No, but I'm getting there, honey. I'm getting there. And so Helen, the coffee maker, goes up and she goes, "Can you read, honey?" And she goes, and then she helps her figure out and she goes, "You're a peach, you're with us." And she was like, you're one of us. Yes. But then so later on in the film, when they're on the bus and they're having girl time, May is letting her read one of her like dirty books. And so she's sounding out all the words. She goes, "Milky white breasts."
But the best part is that Stillwell Angel's mom says
Ellen Sue.
No, that's not Ellen Sue.
Oh no, she's Miss Georgia. Excuse me.
Oh my God, did you short circuit before this?
I did.
She says, "May, what do you got her reading?" And May says, "Hey, well at least she's reading." And then she sounds out, "Milky white breast." And I swear to God, I probably said that on this podcast because I famously talk about not being able to read. And my reference point to not being able to read is milky white breast.
No, literally. And that's why part of why this has become so important to both you and I is like, it's a shared language.
It is how we talk. And also I had forgotten about the like reform school gracefully and grandly. The way I did that around my goddamn living room. Sip down. Don't slurp.
Oh, don't slurp. And then I also love when they're trying to figure out how to sit in a chair. She goes, cross your legs. A lady never reveals anything. And Kit loses it because she knows.
Dottie slaps her down. And also Rosie O'Donnell's character literally just slurping up the tea the whole time. I mean, it's literally iconic film because you're seeing what society wanted to do to these women. We will let you play baseball, but everyone will be a lady.
Yep.
Like, are you kidding me?
Well, and that's part of one of my next favorite bits, which is one of the most iconic characters of the film and also has an amazing arc, Marla Hooch.
Oh,
and
Marla Hooch.
So Marla Hooch is an amazing baseball player. She can hit
Collins, Colorado.
And she can hit right-handed, she can hit left-handed. She's amazing.
They call that.
And she is iconic, but they position her in the film as an ugly girl.
Yeah, I mean, literally, one of my favorite lines from Kit is, and this is like where Dottie had some self-awareness and Kit didn't.
Right.
She said, what, you ain't gonna take her because she ain't pretty? And
say what it is.
I mean, honestly, they weren't, and then they fought for her.
Yes, they fought for her. And she's
the best fucking hitter. And she, arc. Okay, I'll shut up.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
No, but that's all I was gonna say was like she's positioned as this like not pretty girl, but then they take her to a roadhouse called the Suds Bucket.
The Suds Bucket. I got my suds in the bucket and my clothes hanging out on the line.
So they're leaving, and Hunter and I, this has become a part of our shared language, is Marla's on the stage singing a Nelson, and she's singing, "It had to be you." Woo, 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 woo.
I'm singing a Nelson, baby.
Ain't I singing a Nelson?
But you know what I watch Marla's character as now? Us, as young queer people, going to a gay bar or the underwear party or whatever for the first time and feeling the love and attention that we deserve.
Yeah. That you can be so comfortable to be yourself.
Yes. Nelson gave that to her.
Yes.
And she sang to him.
Oh, honey.
And honestly, like, that's a queer story. I know that they didn't cast Nelson as a woman or whatever. And there are a lot of articles about how like the Suds in the Bucket, whatever, were like underground queer, whatever.
Yeah.
But like she felt something in that bar that she had never felt before and she wasn't letting it go.
Yep.
And that's a fucking queer experience. And I love, they're in that original commercial where they're talking about like all of the coffee maker, Betty Spaghetti. Right. They say, Marla Hooch. What a hitter!
And it's also like they position it again like what a hitter. They post a picture of her where she's like so far away in the outfit, like you can't see her because not
but
cute.
Marla is the hero.
Marla is the hero. She gets married. I'll see you next season.
Nelson. She sang to Nelson. She married Nelson. She's living, laughing, loving out loud with Nelson.
Oh my God.
Okay, so a few others that I love. There are two that I say all the time. Ellen Sue Gotlander, Miss Georgia.
I know what you're going to say.
When she says, well, we can't play without a lineup.
Oh, God. Another Ellen Sue I love is when this guy's making fun of her in the stands.
And she throws the ball at him.
And she goes, it's lit.
It's lit. That's fucking you, bitch.
No, 100%.
We can't play without a lineup. You throw the ball at a fan. It's flipped.
It's flipped.
She is iconic Southern caricature.
So good.
And also when Tom Hanks' character, Jimmy Dugan, alcoholic coach, pisses for a long time.
Yeah.
I love when May and Rosie's character, why am I forgetting her name?
Doris.
Oh my God, I blacked out. Doris. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, forgive me, Doris.
It's okay.
When he pees for a really long time and she's like, do something, May. At least time it.
Yeah. Well, and then so she starts timing it, and then Doris goes, well, hey, May, how long? And she goes, Doris. And like, she's like, come on, have some respect. I'm like, May, you're out in there doing it too.
May's eyes look like she wanted to take that piss.
While there are there is the question of who is Dottie and who is Kit. There is the question of who's May
Doris
and who's Doris. May, Doris.
Oh, you're for fucking sure, Doris. I'm for sure May. But back to Jimmy Dugan, there's a scene at the end where he signs a baseball and this little kid is reading what he signs and he says, "Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan."
Yes. It's those little hints that are so good.
Yes. And also, I wrote this down when I was rewatching, but what is the guy's name that's the recruiter? He calls them Glamour Puss. And I was like, can we bring back Glamour Puss?
I love Glamour Puss. Also, he says he like leaves and they're like, "You're going?" She goes, "Oh yeah, I'm going home, see the wife, get a little pickle tickle, and go home." And I remember pickle tickle has stuck in my head for so long, and now I get it. He wanted to go get a pickle tickle.
He wanted to get fucked.
Yeah.
But he can't play without a lineup.
No. Okay. The ultimate queer-coded question of this is, in rewatching it now as a fully realized 34-year-old, like, what do you take away now?
Wow, calling out my birthday last week?
Yeah, hello.
34. I need to tell you that I met Gina Davis.
Okay.
And many original Peaches, both cast and actual original Peaches. And that...
I knew about Gina, but...
Oh, Marla was there. Betty Spaghetti. Helen was there.
This was at the Bentonville Film Festival?
Yes. So when I was fresh out the womb into career.
Yeah. My job is career.
I am career. Ever heard of career? Hello, I'm a capitalist cow. I'm here to milk the teat in my dress.
You're tickling the pickle of capitalism.
Honey, we can't play without a lineup.
Once again.
At 22, my lineup was the Bentonville Film Festival.
Right.
And one of my clients had sponsored it, this whole thing. And I was like, oh my God, Gina Davis is going to be there. Like, I got to get in. My client was Molly of Blake and Molly.
Stop.
Yes. And so they were sponsoring this whole thing. And so Melissa Joan Hart fucking played in the tournament, but also Shirley Baker, Helen,
stop,
Betty Spaghetti. They were all there. And I got to go to the meet and greet. But then I also fucking met an original Peach whose name was Gina Casey. And she had played on the original team. I have photos with her in a fucking Vineyard Vines shirt and like skinny jeans and like Cole Haan loafers. But I met her and that's important.
Stop. Okay, I did know about Gina, but I don't remember these other details.
Well, because I blacked out because I was there with fucking Dottie.
Right, of course.
This is our daughter, Dottie.
The Queen of Diamonds.
I, in that moment, was the queen of CPG.
Oh, well, honey, you sure were. Okay, how was it?
Oh my God, she was stunning. And she was so kind.
Yeah.
And it was a meet and greet. So it was in and out. Honey.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was hanging out with her. But I was like, you changed my motherfucking life.
Yes, 100%.
I mean, so I just need to talk about that first to like know that like I'm in.
It does set the stage though for like
how much we love them.
How much we love it, and also recognizing and having to tell and see somebody so iconic from your childhood and like someone that still remains so meaningful now. So my whole takeaway is that Kit's journey throughout the film is definitely like the B plot, but it is so queer coded. And obviously she is straight in the movie. Like I don't think there's any questioning that. But like the things about Kit that resonate so much with me and I think a lot of queer people is feeling misplaced.
Yes.
And
in the shadow.
So
the town and also her sister.
I mean, it's a very Ashley and Jessica story.
Oh, bitch.
Living in the shadow.
Okay, but also come they told me.
Okay, but no, literally, she lived in the shadow of Dottie and she never felt good enough. And she also knew deep down that something was meant for her that was different, and that there was something special in her that she couldn't put her name on. And there's a scene, and we just realized tonight that we connected on it. We pulled it completely separately and independently of each other. But she has this quote where she's trying to get on the league, and they're only going to put Kit in
because she's a dolly,
right?
Because Dottie is a dolly. They're like, oh, we don't want you.
100%.
We don't want you. We want the pretty girls.
Right. And so they're only going to take Kit if they take Dottie. And so she's trying to plead to her, like, please. She's like, I want to do this so bad. This is something I want so deep for myself. And you're my ticket to doing that. And she goes, I got to get out of here. I'm nothing here.
Oh.
And it is not to speak about not being the place that you live is necessarily a bad place, but just knowing that you are misplaced and that there is something else that you can do and live your full potential somewhere else. And that is, for me, is a very relatable queer experience for me growing up in the South and realizing that my potential is great here, but there is greater potential that I'm going to live up to somewhere else. And I was just like, holy shit, this is the whole damn meaning of the movie.
But also, isn't it the meaning of this fucking podcast?
Yes.
Because we watched this as little children that saw her saying, I'm nothing here. And that meant I don't want to be on the farm. I don't want to be in your shadow. I don't want to do these things. I have a talent that I want to expand. There was no version of Young Hunter that knew that was a queer narrative.
No.
And now to view it and know that Kit, even though portrayed as heterosexual in the film,
right,
the league was very queer. And to see that now and to hear her say, I'm nothing here. That is the I'm too emotional.
No, it's the
I gotta deflect.
It's the summary of who she is and why she acts the way she acts in the film.
Yeah, like, she's hardened.
Her emotion gets so in her way of her performance, and I relate to that as like someone that is a perfectionist and a people pleaser. I let my emotion get in the way of like letting the other parts of me shine sometimes, and so I really related to that. And there's a part in the movie where we just listened to it earlier, and she goes, I just get so angry. And she is saying it into the void, not in the sense of like, I'm angry at everything. I'm angry at you, Dottie. I'm angry at the lead, but I'm also angry that I can't find the right place to fire my armor. And I don't know what I'm angry at, and I can't put my name on it. And that's why her getting traded to Racine was the best thing that could have happened for Kit.
Because she was able to thrive outside of the bounds of what she knew, which was the Rockford Peaches,
right?
And what had held her down her whole life, which was her sister,
right?
And that is so powerful. And I went down, so they rebooted with Abby Jacobson, the series, and when it came out, like, this is a movie that we are personal about. And I like went down a spiral, but in the 92 film, it was like very much about showing women in positions and in environments that they weren't encouraged to be in,
right?
Or they weren't expected to be in, right?
Yeah.
So you take someone and you give them this opportunity that it's like, oh, you're going to play baseball. And that's like the first notch. And then the second layer is like, well, who am I when I let go of all of these things? And I'm a professional baseball player. Like, women can be professional baseball players. It was literally the 40s that the movie is based on, and it was the 90s that we were talking about. But the whole message was around women are just as capable as men.
Yes.
And women can do this. And why are we putting expectations on people to be in the kitchen when Harvey's boss comes back and is like, what? We want the men to come home from war and go back to the kitchen because the women are playing baseball? It's like, fuck yeah, send them to the goddamn kitchen because the women are slaying on the field.
Exactly.
Like, stop underestimating people. And it's insane. It's insane. And I'm going to lose my mind the movie was based in the 40s.
Right.
It came out in 92. It's 2025. We're still having the same fucking conversations about what women and men can do, about what queer people are capable of doing, about all of these things that it's like fucking in. I'm going to piss my tucking panties.
It holds up. And to what you're saying is that the themes of the movie still translate to even the series, even though we didn't necessarily dive into the series deeply, but it brings up a lot of the other things that weren't unearthed in the movie that we need to educate ourselves on.
Yes.
So consider this our promise to you to watch the series, and we will follow up.
Well, because I do think that the point of the series was to close some of the gaps that the film missed. And listen,
while still having heart for the original piece of work.
Exactly. And knowing that in 1992, what Penny Marshall put out was progressive.
Right.
And so in 2020, what Abby Jacobson put out was even more progressive and filled the gaps. And it talked about race and it talked about the queerness, because you cannot separate A League of Their Own with the queerness and the community and what it brought to people in the 40s. And that is why I go insane, because it's like, motherfuckers, we've been here.
Yes.
We've been doing this. Like, fucking, I need to take a breath and a sip. I'm getting dry mouth. I'm getting angry. I'm about to start naming family members by name.
Oh, shit.
Because it's so fucking insane that we're still talking about this.
Yeah.
And that people are still feeling the way that these women felt in the 40s.
Yeah.
That's
how intense the norms of society and the norms of gender roles still play to this day, even if times have changed.
Yes.
Those things that we learned growing up still persist in our minds in a weird way, even if we unlearn some things. And it is hard to shake off 100%.
Yes. Wait, I have something important to that, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
But I did.
I'm not upset.
I wrote down, so I realized this later in life, that the commercial that's being read is actually anti the League. And if you listen to what the commercial is saying, it is not that different from the anti-trans or anti-queer, anti-LGBTQIA plus rhetoric that's happening today. And I wrote it down. And if I hadn't turned my note card.
Oh my God, I am so glad that you did.
And I'm going to read it like that cunt.
Okay, please.
Careers in higher education are leading to the masculinization of women, with enormously dangerous consequences to the home, the children, and our country. Young girls plucked from their families are gathered at Harvey Field to see which one of them can be the most masculine.
That was written in 1992 and is no different than the bullshit that Donald Trump and his fucking piece of shit cronies are spewing out today.
Yep.
I always, because the music is so good, it's when they're at the field, the narration, never clocked in until later in life. And I'm like, holy shit, that's probably an actual commercial that ran during that time, which is like women that play fucking softball or baseball or whatever, queer attack. Like, fuck off.
No, 100%. One of the other things that I took away from the film in rewatching it was Doris's character, which is played by Rosie O'Donnell.
Fuck.
And
when she flipped the bat over, do you know I did that my whole life?
Oh, like balancing it on your hand.
I was trying to balance the bat my whole life. I never went to the hospital, but I did get hit in the head.
Well, so she is on the bus and they're all like kind of sharing stories, having girl time between games. And someone asked her about her boyfriend, and the picture's out of focus. He's ugly. And everyone's like, oh yeah, he's kind of ugly. And they're like, so why are you with him? And she's like, well, of all the guys that were in my sphere, he was the only one that allowed me to feel accepted and loved because I am a girl that plays baseball. I act differently. I move around the world differently. And then he was like, and then she starts talking about how he treats her like trash. And then she ends up tearing the photo because she's like, I'm fulfilled by this friendship and this sisterhood of this baseball team. And she throws the picture out the window. To me, what I'm getting from that is like realizing she's a little
coming out. I
got the world to know she's Leslie.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And like they never ever outright say that.
They don't address it in 1992.
Right. So she throws the picture out the window, and then later in the game, there's two guys. They're going, number 22, trying to get her to blow a kiss. And she sees them, and she turns around, she rolls her eyes, and she goes, ugh.
Oh, my God.
And I'm just like, that is not overt, but I am picking up, especially knowing Rosie now, like what we know. This is pre-coming out to her.
Of course.
But like, oh my gosh, like that is like queer narrative of realizing, getting yourself out of your own context to realize who you really are.
Yeah. Well, did you watch Secret Love or like The Secret Love on Netflix?
What is that?
A moment of silence for Tucker.
I mean, I'm scared.
You must have been in Texas. Honestly, you had to have been in Texas. It is about two women, Terry Donahue and Pat Hinchell. I wrote their names down to respect them and make sure I got it right. They were in the All-American Girls Baseball League. They had a 70-year relationship.
Oh my.
Secret.
Stop. For 70 years?
70 years. And the documentary is by their great nephew, who knew what was happening. They had always referred to themselves as cousins or good friends, and they had lived this life. And he was like, no, I want to start recording this process of you coming out and getting married and being together. And it highlights a 70-year relationship coming to fruition, marriage. They were living together. They were in the league. They read letters that they had written to each other on the road.
Oh my God.
While playing. There are old photos of them. They spent their entire lives together from the 40s. And in 2020, released this about their love story.
Fuck.
And that is how deep the queer narrative of A League of Their Own goes.
Yeah.
Because to be a little kid that worshiped this movie.
Yeah.
From the time I was born.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, and probably some of my darkest times, to see this love story come out about two women in the league who had spent their lives together, who had dedicated everything they had to each other since the fucking 40s.
Wow.
Be highlighted on Netflix, and to see the photos. Talk about this used to be my playground.
I mean, oh my God.
It was.
Wait, Hunter, you are actually educating me on something right now.
Oh my God,
I am very shocked.
Well, let's watch it after this.
Truly.
It is truly absolutely inspiring, and like changed who I was because of who they were,
this connection
but also
that you
because
have
of
to
the
the film.
connection. And I mean, I think the message is that like this was the 40s and we were there.
Yeah.
Queers were there, dykes were there, lesbians were there, trans people were there.
Yeah.
Stop trying to get rid of us.
Yeah.
Stop thinking that this is going to change. Stop telling us how to live. Because in 1940 something, these two incredible women found each other and saved each other's fucking lives.
Yep.
And if we want to talk about pro-life, we want to talk about whatever, those two women saved each other's lives. That's fucking pro-life. Is them being able to be in love with each other and being able to have everything that they had together for fucking decades.
And then I can only imagine too, you said it was a 70-year relationship. Like I can only imagine that sort of level and happiness and hope of having someone that you connect with so much also helps prolong your life and give you something to work and hope for too. Like that is like an amazing message to being who you are and owning who you are, even though sometimes you can't necessarily be who you are outright. Knowing who you are, owning it, loving it, respecting it, taking care of yourself when you don't think other people are is so important.
And shout out to fucking Terry and Pat.
Yes.
Because they changed my life.
Yeah.
And to have that queer connection to a movie that was so connected to my childhood. I'm too emotional.
Well, hey.
Well, hey, I think it's time for parting shots before I cry.
Okay. So do you have a parting shot?
My parting shot is that, honestly, we're the members. I don't actually. I'm actually a little mush, so I'd love your parting shot.
Okay, so then I think that the parting shot is determining the ultimate question of who is Dottie, who is Kit, and at the very end of the film, we are going to spoil it just now, so just prepare, pause.
If you haven't seen it since 1992, you fucking deserve a spoiler,
right,
motherfucker.
Period. So at the very end of the film, now that Kit has been traded to Racine, Dottie and Kit are up against each other in the playoffs.
One more, Ellen
One
Sue.
more.
That's where one more comes from, because
100%.
there's one more out. Kit is up to bat.
Yeah.
If they get Kit out, they win the World Series.
And Kit fucking
famously loves the high ones.
Oh.
And so Dottie goes
my
up
God.
to Ellen Sue Gotland.
Yeah.
We can't play without a lineup.
Yeah.
And says she likes them high. Was going to sell out her sister. And Ellen Sue pitches a high one. And Kit knocks the piss out of it.
Yes.
She's running the bases like it's her life depends on
So
it.
as you'll remember, Dottie is the catcher, and so they're throwing the ball. Kit's running
around
the bases.
and around. Kit plows through Dottie. Dottie has the ball in her hand, which means Kit is out. But when Dottie's hand falls onto the dirt, the ball rolls out slowly.
Yep.
Henson dropped the ball! Henson dropped the ball! Was what the announcers were saying. And the question is, did Dottie drop it and let Kit have the win, or did she really drop it? And what do you think?
I think it was a bad call.
You think that she was out?
I think she was for sure. I think she was for sure out because Dottie felt like, to me, she was really standing on base. It was in her glove. I think that's considered an out. I have always thought that maybe
Tell me what you always thought.
I have always thought that maybe she dropped the ball. But
I'm pro Dottie dropped the ball.
Yeah.
For Kit. She had been in the spotlight. She didn't give a fuck about any of it.
She wanted to go home to Bob.
Well, Bob famously was limping on one goddamn foot.
Well, because it was Sniper.
Well, Sniper from the side. Honey.
Yeah.
Honey, I think Dottie dropped the ball for sure to let Kit win. And I have always thought I was Dottie.
And I have always thought that I was Dottie.
And watching as a queer person, I think I'm Kit.
I think I'm Kit too.
And so what do we do?
Fuck, now we're going to fight over Kit. We've always been fight over Dottie.
Oh my God. Well, here's our daughter, Dottie. And here's our other daughter.
Dottie's sister.
Kit! We're Kit!
Pro Kit.
Oh my God, we're pro Kit.
Yeah.
No, we're pro Kit. And also, actually, I'm all the way May.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
To be honest, I'm May.
And I'm Ellen Sue. So
we can't play without a line.
We can't play. It's lit. So ultimately, that is
the end of the episode.
Well, from that, we are now going to take it from Yee-Haw to Yes Queen, where we rate things that we've talked about this episode we don't know, and we're going to put them on a scale from Yee-Haw to Yes Queen. Here we go. Baseball. I think Yee-Haw because it's a sport. And I think that sports in general are pretty yee-haw and like woven into the fabric of the norms of our culture. And I think Yes Queen talks about the outside of the norms of our culture.
And I'll say the Rockford Peaches. Yes Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Reform school. That's Yes Queen as fuck. Here's the thing. My mom used to threaten me with cotillion. She'd be like, if you don't behave, you're going to go to cotillion. And I'd be like, bitch, I wanna gracefully and grandly. Gracefully. I wanted reform school. Honey, I want to be reformed.
I think reform school is a yes queen because I think you do take things from it, and then once you realize who you really are, you take it, tweak it to use it to your advantage.
Yes, say that. Sister.
Period. Glamour puss. Yes,
Both.
queen.
I think it's both.
Okay.
Because he was kind of Yee-Haw when he was like, oh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
glamour.
yeah.
But honestly, we're bringing glamour puss. We're bringing glamour puss back. I was trying to do that like Justin Timberlake.
It
Sexy
wasn't
back. And
there,
he was
but
canceled.
yeah,
and then
yeah.
now I'm canceled. And now everything's canceled. And with that, we say, y'all come back now, you queer. Queer Coded Country is created and hosted by Hunter Poole and Tucker Travis. Produced and edited by Sammy Junio.